I've said it before and I'll say it again. Romance is not enough. For science fiction TV, I mean. Though a little nookie every once in a while can't hurt, unless that's how you like it. But in the show, too many times the creative staff thinks that romance episode equals drama is enough. And it isn't. The same that surviving the disaster and averting their own destruction are not enough. Because we know things will go back to the status quo. You're not going to kill off or marry off a main character, so we know what's going to happen. The trick is to either make us believe it really could this time, which is very rare, or make the trip itself worthwhile. I can't believe I'm saying it, but that's why Voyager's Counterpoint of all things shows how to do it right. Sorry, my mouth always says Voyager does it wrong out of habit. It's because running alongside the romance is the mystery. Is this man that Janeway is opening herself up to trustworthy, or is he going to do what he's been doing to her to the entire crew? We know that either way, it wasn't going to end with them being together, but there was plenty about it that we didn't know that kept the relationship fresh. Anyway, with an opening like that, I'm sure you can guess that there will be romance involved in this episode. And it starts here, with Picard coming to Data in the middle of the night. I mean, the episode starts there, not the romance. The world was not ready for bald-on-bod action just yet. Data's in command, and Picard wanted to get in touch with someone about an archaeological dig, but he can't because stellar cartography is running an experiment, which also shuts down the library computers and the replicators, and Picard wonders what could be going on that requires this. And while he could ask Data, it'd be far more helpful to the plot if he traveled down there and showed up to ask in person. It's also helpful that despite this shutting down lots of rather significant functions on his ship, that somehow no one thought to ask the captain if that was okay and explain to him why. But then this is the same ship that didn't tell the archaeology-loving captain that they were on an archaeological mission until 2 minutes before one of the crew was killed while on it. Sometimes I think Riker runs this ship like Sir Humphrey Appleby. I am old, and in the wrong hemisphere. Anyway, she bitches that by coming in, Picard ruined the experiment, so he states the obvious.
You might have taken the simple precaution of locking the door.
Yes, you're going to predict the development of the stars themselves, but you can't figure out that don't want people bothering me equals lock door. Despite serving Picard some tea Earl Grey shit to drink, he seems to like her, and talks a little astrophysics with Riker. Well, says something while Riker stares at him like the captain just started picking his nose, unaware that he's standing in front of someone. But Picard just can't help himself. He's talking astrophysics to everybody now, even over dinner, because he sure does love that stuff. And it definitely has nothing to do with the fact that even in Season 6, the female uniforms are very, very tight, and Nella fills it out oh so well. Well, they hurry away from their half-finished dinner to hear the big performance, which will also include Nella on piano. And Picard uses that to mention the piano lessons he took as a child. The ones that he mentioned 2 weeks ago in The Perfect Mate, huh? Yeah? He's feeling her out, a little light touches of continuity, but not too much. You know, Picard's not some slut that's going to go full-on continuity on the first date. However, he will feel her up a little bit with some technobabble, even if it is about music.
During the second arpeggio of the first movement, I noticed that you played an F minor chord instead of a diminished D.
It's been about 20 years since I took music composition, but I think that's a very fancy way of saying she fucked up. But I guess that's a good thing because she comes by later while he's listening to music and she asks if she can try out his flute, a scene which is meant to show Picard's willingness to start to share more intimate things with her, that he is getting emotionally close to her, which they are illustrating by having her slip his long instrument between her lips and fingering it delicately. Can't quite put my finger on the subtext of this scene.
You're not used to playing with anyone, are you?
Just the computer.
Well, I may not be as precise as a computer, but I think you'll enjoy it more.
No subtext. Must have been my imagination. She works with him and seems to bring out musical talents that he hadn't realized he had, bringing a whole new dimension of joy to this. The symbolism naturally is that Picard's music has always been a very private thing. He's always been content with the solitary nature of it. But now he seems to really be grasping how wonderful it is to share that with someone else. We're a third of the way into the episode when he reaches this point, and that's significant. It's where Lessons handles the romance in its own way. This isn't another episode of the character falls in love. This is an episode of the character falling into a relationship. And that relationship will reveal things about the character along the way. For one thing, Picard has smiled often, but with her, it's that much warmer. It's a very subtle thing, but Stewart shows that the Picard that we have seen has always been so guarded that even a smile is still held back a little bit normally, and now is when the defenses are really lowered. The one who seems caught off guard with this is Beverly, who, while always being the supportive friend, seems to realize that she's in the friendship zone now. Sure, Picard is hooked up with women, and she's hooked up with guys, or ghosts, or whatever, but a serious relationship? She's used to being the consoling one, like in The Perfect Mate. It's too bad you can't have the woman of your dreams. Now, all of a sudden, he's hooking up with someone, and she seems bothered, which could mean that this is a love triangle, and more importantly, could mean that this is a catfight in the making, redhead on redhead action. But things chug along, with Nella taking him into a spot with the Jeffries tubes where the acoustics are perfect for them to make beautiful music together. Maybe there's subtext here, too? Nah. They're so close now that he shares the song that he learned in the inner light with her, and then the making out begins. But that's just this stage of the relationship. The next is the fact that while Picard is happy that he's no longer having to play his own instrument when he has the urge, he has trouble being open about this relationship in front of the crew. So he's going to need to talk to an expert in relationships. So it's off to see Guinan. Guinan? Oh, shit. I guess it's off to see Troy, then. It's supposed to be hard for even her to mess this up, although she's never failed to impress me in that regard. So after Troy gives this her blessing, Picard not only apologizes, but decides he's going to completely open up to her and tell the story of what happened in the inner light to show just how serious he takes this relationship. He's now going full frontal continuity, and so, yep, it's about time to consummate this plot thread. So, they all live happily ever after? No, there's still Picard's oldest to think about. Nella wants to have someone reassigned from the quantum mechanics department to her department, but Riker says no, you can't offer him a new position or else he'll lose track of his momentum. That's the way these guys work. Nella pushes for this, so...
Commander, do you realize the position you're putting me in?
I'm starting to wonder if Beverly isn't the only one feeling a little jealous. Riker even goes to Picard about this.
I'm beginning to feel uncomfortable with her requests.
And this from a man who has had sex with a sexless alien. Picard has to tell him that, yes, Riker should still do his frickin' job even when it means saying no to his girlfriend. Now that you got your attaboy, run along and do that already. But he does mention to her later that, to be aware that this is a ship full of school children who might get in a tizzy if they say or do the wrong thing. Or as I like to call it, the optimistic Roddenberry future. So they put aside that crap and get back to their romantic evening.
What about that special dessert you promised me?
Right. Now, this is something that I first tasted on Thelka 4.
Oh, your special dessert is actually a dessert. Of course. What else would it be? Meanwhile, there's word on this outpost. Earlier, they had contacted the Enterprise to let them know that these massive firestorms that hit the planet every 70 years or so has shown up 8 months early, and the crew said that would be a fascinating thing to study. Well, the outpost has called them back now to say, no, you big nerds, we need evacuation because of the massive firestorms. In the briefing, Beverly naturally asks why we went and built an outpost on a planet known for its massive firestorms and didn't make it fireproof. Well, they say, this is a super duper bad one that will dispose of them faster than you can say 8th season. Nella naturally has a suggestion on this, though. She'll tech up a firewall to partially shield the outpost and save it. Presumably the empty building so that they can use it again, not just leave everyone there and hope it works. We have faith in tech, but let's not be stupid. Picard likes the plan his girlfriend has suggested, so Riker puts his girlfriend in charge of setting it up. You know, standing in front of the massive firestorm to make sure it's okay. How's that one sound, Casanova? So they get to work on this, but it seems that the ionization is slowing down the transporting, that even after their efforts, there still are a lot of colonists left down there. I was thinking outpost meant some kind of research observatory or something, a couple dozen people at most, but apparently they said, wow, ugly barren world which has massive firestorms, where do I sign up? That's where I want to live. Well, thanks to them, there just isn't enough time, not unless the shields are boosted manually based on we are screwed science. So Picard grimly orders Nella and her group to remain and do just that to save the very stupid colonists. Things seem pretty bad, and Picard handles it in private, but luckily Nella is one of the survivors, although ordering her to stay in the face of a massive firestorm has put a bit of a strain on their relationship. Picard's at a bit of an impasse. As The Perfect Mate showed, duty must trump personal feelings in his book. But after what happened, he doesn't think he can send Nella into harm's way again, so she can no longer serve under him. Under his command, I mean. So the only choice is for her to leave. That or one of them gives up their career in Starfleet. But come on, who's ever going to do something that crazy just for love, right? Resigning and becoming an ambassador or something? That clearly is something that's never going to happen to Picard. So that's the inevitable end to the relationship and the episode. Post-episode follow-up, annoying character goes to Riker for being a wiener. You stood up to Captain Jellicoe, but you're nervous about the captain's girlfriend. You were supposed to teach Wesley, not the other way around. Final score for Lessons is 6 out of 10. This time it was an above-average episode. The romance creating a relationship that explored the character of Picard and some of those close to him, and the music in this episode was really enjoyable. But I think the episode could have benefited from more of a B-plot to it, just for a bit of variety to it, because while it's not boring, it could have used a bit of a change of pace every now and then. Speaking of change of pace, we're going to be back to DS9 next week with another Season 7 episode, Treachery, Faith, and the Great River. Keep an eye on your valuables.